Hey, John Sonmez from SimpleProgrammer.com. I've got an email here from someone who had actually, I think I might have answered video email before, but he replied back. Basically says, hope you're having a great day so far. I was wondering if you could provide me with some advice. If you remember, I had emailed you a while back about how to get a job in iOS programming. You had mentioned building a portfolio of apps to show to a potential employer. That's a great way to break into the field. He says he's been studying every night and writing simple programs to practice and build his skills. However, I've got a roadblock that I need your advice on. So let's see. So here's a roadblock. I think of an idea for an iOS app to put in the Apple Store, but then I quickly realized that I have knowledge gaps in several areas. For example, how to save data. How do I design UI elements programmatically so they don't look horrible? What concepts should I focus on learning first? The list goes on. So, I guess it's a matter of getting discouraged by the amount that I think I need to understand first before I can even start making a good app. If you were new and you were trying to build something worthwhile, how would you try to handle all the knowledge gaps? I know that programming is a lifelong learning process. You never know everything, but how do you feel comfortable enough to even get started? So this is a great question, right? This kind of hits on the fundamental thing that stops people from being successful at anything, really, not just programming, but at anything that they would try to pursue, which is basically, I don't know what the heck I'm doing. I don't have enough knowledge, I'm not confident enough, so I'm just going to stop and not do anything, or not move forward, right? So, the best advice that I can give you in this situation, really, is to just plow forward, plow right into it. Don't think, oh, I can't create this app because I don't understand how to do, I don't know how to save data, I can't design UI elements. Go for it. Just start working on it. When you hit the problem, right, because the thing is, it's kind of like a problem admiration, right? You see this bigger problem than it is, right? Everything is, I mean, saving data, that's a huge thing, but it's like, your real problem is not going to be how do I save data in general, know all the ways to save data. It's going to be how do I save this specific piece of data? But you haven't gotten far enough to get to the actual problem yet, right? So you're making it bigger than it is. Just like in programming, we break things down, right? We take an algorithm and it's always just one step, right, on top of another step. Every complex problem can be broken down into something simple, right? So what you need to do is just plow forward, start going. You're going to get to a point when you're building your app and you're going to say, hey, oh man, I need to save this data, right? And then you're going to find what your real problem is and you're going to figure it out. Then you're going to go and look for answers to that problem. Look for the knowledge that you need. You might say, man, I'm doing a lot of saving data. If I just understood how the saving process worked, then you'll go and research that. Or maybe it might just be Googling, how do you save this one thing? It might be just a small answer, but you're not going to know until you get there. You have to get there. Same thing. Let's say, just to pick the UI elements. You said, how do I design UI elements programmatically so they don't look horrible? Well, you experiment with it. You take a look at other people doing it. But the key is that you have to get to the point where you need it first, right? And maybe it does look horrible at first. Big deal. Maybe you designed a horrible app. It just sucks. Big deal. It's not going to matter. That's like the step to get to the next step. So you're just going to have to bite the bullet. Just go for it. Don't try and learn so much. Don't try and become so skillful without doing. I'm not saying that you should just never learn, right, and you should never go back, but you need to have more action than there is learn. Like, you learn primarily through action. The best way that we ever learn anything is when we have a question that we need an answer to, right? If I take and read a book from cover to cover, I'm not going to learn much. I'll learn some from it, right? I'm going to gather some information. But if I go and try to do something that I don't know how to do, and then I have some specific questions, and then I go and look in a book, or I read that book and it answers those specific questions that I have, then I've actually learned something. So you can't, you can waste a lot of time reading and trying to improve your skills, but until you swing that golf club and you know what I mean, until you actually do the action, you're not going to actually learn. You're not going to have that capability. So basically, my advice is just get out there, go through it, don't worry about the roadblock. Don't worry about not knowing this stuff and what order you need to learn things in. You just go in, keep on heading forward until you hit the roadblock, the actual roadblock, not the perceived one, the real one, and then work your way through it. It's always going to be simpler than what you think. I mean, when you're stepping back and looking at the problem, when you're looking at the thing, it seems really difficult, it seems complicated, but it's not that bad. As you get through it, and also recognize this is the path you must follow. You will not become good at becoming an iOS developer, for example, or programmer, if you do not hit these problems. So you want to face these problems as soon as possible. You don't want to delay them. You don't want to find ways to avoid them or get around them. You're just going to have to plow through them. So hopefully that is helpful to you. If you have any questions, comments about this video, you can send me an email. Go to simpleprogrammer.com, click the contact me, and I'd appreciate it if you like this channel, subscribe. And I produce, it's been about, I'm not going to commit to anything, but it's been about 3 videos a week lately, as these kind of smaller impromptu ones answering questions. So take care, talk to you next time.